Just pretend no one's watching this, because to tell you the truth, there's only a handful of people watching this at the best of times. Clive, I want to talk to you about serious depression, treating depression with luxury wristwatches.
Watching this because
I got to
a handful of people watching this.
I got to tell you, I got to be completely honest with you. The lowest I've ever been. Oh, geez, just hang on one tick there. Just one tick, Clyde.
All right. Morris Nell, and Andrew Sullivan. What's up, guys? How's it going? And to be honest, it hasn't been the greatest weekend emotionally for me either. So, Nero is talking about buying things is not a cure for depression. Captain Zed, howdy. How's it going?
Sorry about that there. That's just, hey, I want to talk to you, Clive.
Okay.
Now, I wanted to ask you, they've got another interruption. Just hang on there. Just hang on, Clive. What's wrong? No drink, no soda waters. Sorry about that there. Clive, treating depression, the lowest you've ever been. The lowest, what's the lowest you've ever been, Clive?
Boy,
I'll tell you how low I was. I remember I was so depressed at one stage, Clive. So depressed that I woke up in the morning, used to wake up in the morning thinking about all my problems, all these problems, right?
Right.
And I honestly thought to myself, this is the lowest I've ever been. I said, Jesus, you know, if I wasn't here anymore, I wouldn't have these problems.
Oh, yeah.
That's the lowest. And I remember I'm thinking to myself, and I don't even know why I went so low. I went so low in my life. And I got to tell you the truth there. Often it's a number of factors that make you super depressed. It's got certain areas of your life. You've got your career, your job, your career. Well, mine was pretty crappy. My IT career was shit. It's almost as bad as my YouTube career. Then I had my family life. So this is 3 divorces later. 3 divorces, 3 separations, 3 disasters. Yep. I'm a lady killer. I'm a lady killer. They're all angry and nasty and sniping at me. Then I had my financial ability, you know, my financial reserve, which 82,000 in credit card debt alone. 82,000 in credit card debt alone. High. That was a disaster. Every facet of my life was bad. You understand?
Now, is that going to be featured in the movie that's coming up?
Yes, it is. It is going to be featured in the movie. And I got to tell you this. What I have found is, no matter how bad things get, one, I'm not saying to you buy 20 luxury watches, but having one good luxury watch is a start, just a start to move forward. At one point, I sold all my watches off. I didn't even keep one. I had a boy-sized Tudor. That's all I had left was a boy-sized Tudor, which had a beautiful dial, by the way, too, but we'll ignore that. A boy-sized Tudor is all I had left. And I got to be honest with you, I should have kept the Explorer too. I should have kept that was the last decent watch I sold. I should have kept one watch just for myself, to just keep one watch. And life can throw you a curveball. It makes us feel. See, other thing is, Clive, at different points in our life, when we turn 30, we want certain things to happen when we turn 30, right?
Right.
We want certain successes, certain milestones. We want that job. We want a car. We want the lady who resembles Linda Carter in her younger days.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we turn 40.
Or Farrah Fawcett.
Or Farrah Fawcett. Then when we turn 40, we got certain goals we want to have in life, right? the sad reality is that for many of us, it is just not possible. It's just not possible to achieve these goals. These goals are often outside our own scope. Our career can be in the shitter, right? You might be in an industry which has had a huge downturn. I was in the IT area, which we had the .com crash, the .com disaster.
Of the late 90s, right?
Yeah, early 2000s. Then people who are in the oil and gas industry at the moment, oil is at a record low.
Right.
And there's so many things which are changing. Uber's come in. A lot of people who had taxi plates are suffering. You know, they no longer are worth anything. So the world is a very difficult place at times to be in. It is very, very hard. Things are not easy. They are not easy. Things are very aggressive. And sometimes in life, we can't always keep moving forward. There is a stage where things are bad, and the whole thing can be so bad. It can be so encompassing. It can be so encompassing. It can be so, you just feel surrounded in failure. And normally it's not, you can handle one part of your life. See, you have these 4 balls. You got your career and your,
right.
You know, your career, your job. Then you've got your family and relationships. And then you've got your money. How is your money situation, right?
Right.
And then you have your, you know, you have your friends and that there. So you got all these things, right? And I tell you what, if you're a bit down in the dumps, it can be very, very, if you got 2 of these are down, you can just feel really bad there. And I gotta tell you,
and also the depression, if you've got 1 or 2 areas bringing you down, that can interfere with your effectiveness. It's cause problems from the problems in the other areas of your life. And before too long, you're just doing nothing but eating nothing but takeout pizza. That's called the dominoes effect.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I got to tell you, the worst thing is that it's not so much the financial situation you're in, it's the feeling of hopelessness. When you think it's hopeless and you're never going to get out of this bad situation you're in, it's not actually the bad situation that makes you feel bad. It's the feeling that you'll be trapped here forever, the hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there a number of times. My relationships, 3 marriages, 3 divorces. I've had my career, IT career. Well, that's garbage. My YouTube career, geez, that went bad with the Google Ads apocalypse. My money situation, tied up with the divorce and relationship problems. It's not great. And my family itself there, it's all starting to fall to bits, Clive. It's so easy. And you've also got these cantankerous bitches, your ex-partners, who can cause trouble, try and rock the boat. They try and hurt you. They want to hurt you, Clive. You understand?
Right.
They got no concern for anyone except themselves, you know.
Or they're so consumed by their own pain, the only option they have is to lash out.
Exactly. They're like a hand grenade. They're like a landmine. They're just ready to explode, you know. They are troublesome. They are troublesome. And, you know, I've said to a few ex-wives there, I said, you know, if you were a restaurant, I wouldn't be coming back. I said the service started off really good and friendly. It was really fantastic.
Right.
And what happened was the service got worse and worse over time, and the prices went up. That's what happened. The service got worse and the prices went up until the point where I don't want to come back anymore.
By the way, what wristwatch are you wearing?
I'm wearing the Explorer 2. Explorer 2. So what I want to say to you is treating depression with luxury watches, no matter how bad it gets, Clive, put on a good watch.
Oh, in honor of Rudy, I decided to put on my impossible $5,000 two-tone Yachtmaster.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Now, I got to tell you this. You know, this is the whole thing. I honestly do believe that I've been fired from jobs. I looked down at my watch, and I remember I was getting fired at one stage, right? And
right.
He says, why are you looking at your watch? Are you in a hurry to go? And I said to him, I said, I'm wearing a Patek Philippe. And even though I'm in this very difficult situation where you're relieving me of my duties, I know that you don't own one. I said, you may have destroyed my soul, but at least I've got a Patek Philippe.
I'm sure he went to bed crying that night.
He said he didn't understand what a Patek Philippe was, you know?
Right.
Just saying to you, you can, luxury wristwatches, I think you've got to use this hobby to help you get better. Luxury wristwatches can make you feel good. See, the thing about collecting watches is it lets us have something which we normally can't control or have. You see what I mean?
Well, yeah, but you know, what's the old saying? AC3 can never truly own a Patek Philippe. He merely looks after it for the next ex-wife.
Yes, 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 yes.
And yeah, and like I said, sometimes it can help. It can just give you a nice little endorphin boost. Just put on a watch that you love and look at it. But you know, there's a lot better ways. I mean, if you're really depressed, or if I'm really depressed, I have a tendency to turn my solutions into problems.
Oh, I see. Everything becomes insurmountable. Everything collapses. I know exactly what you're saying. That's a very, very...
Well, if it's like, for instance, if I'm convinced I'm down in the dumps because, you know, business isn't doing that well, or the bills are smelt,
yeah,
the bills are really high, or the caseloads really getting demanding. It's just like, you know, what'll help me is if I get another luxury wristwatch.
Well, you know why? Because I'll tell you this now, in this modern age we live in, us men folk, we don't have much control anymore. See, we don't have jobs for life. They're short-term contracts we have. We don't have these women folk, ever since they discovered the pill, they decide who sleeps. You know what I mean? You no longer have the sanctuary of marriage to control the pleasure factor. It's now what they want to do. So they've gone off like cut snakes. You also have the other problem is that in this day and age now, jobs are not there, the economy's down. So what is the only thing we control? What's the only choices we have? Our kids don't respect us anymore. No one respects us. Being a middle-aged, overweight white guy in this day and age is a very, very hard thing. The only thing we can control is consumer dollars on what we buy watch-wise. That's the only control we have. Do we want the black dial or the white dial? Do we want the Jubilee or the Oyster? Do we want, you got to work out, what do you want? This is the only control we have in our life now. As a middle-aged, overweight white guy, I can tell you that is the only control we have is what watch do we buy?
You know, I can remember being a much younger man in an unhappy marriage, working a job that I hated.
Yes.
I can remember actually just being so depressed and actually going to a family practitioner and just saying, I feel like I've lost control. And the physician was an older white guy, and he said, you know, actually, Clyde, I've learned as time goes on that any feeling of control was simply an illusion in the first place. Anyway, I'm going to start you off with 5 milligrams of Paxil. So Well, we have control over our thoughts, hopefully. We certainly have control over our actions.
This is why this is why people put weight on. You know that? Because they can control what they eat. It's the
taking one's comfort.
It's food can be no longer is it just to survive and sustenance. That's why we've become such bloated creatures. We have become our own worst enemy.
Absolutely. But on the other hand, I've heard it said many times that 30 minutes of even mild exercise a day is better than the best antidepressant.
30 minutes.
Mild exercise is better than the best antidepressant.
Wow, amazing.
And the other thing is that friends.
Yes.
You might have to lean on your friends. Like I said, I've had a rough week or two. And thanks, by the way. Thanks for helping me through that.
Hey, that's no worries.
Now, if anyone else has something that they really need to work through and they need some help or advice, where would they turn to? What resources would they have?
Well, see, for $50 US an hour, I can be your friend and confidant and chat to you. There is no problems I cannot solve. I'll give it a go. I'll give anything a go. I'll give it a go. I can solve very complicated problems. We've got all sorts of things I can try and work. I've tried to work out for people. And I got to tell you, it's quite an enjoyable thing. I really do like chatting to people with problems because it makes me realize my world is not as shitty as I thought it was. Misery has many friends.
Right. Right.
And I got to tell you, Clive.
But there's a big difference, though, between feeling depressed or feeling miserable and feeling depressed or feeling miserable enough to actually get off your ass and do something about it.
Yes.
And I'm not judging. I've been there plenty of times.
I understand exactly. And I've got to tell you honestly, Clive, you have to be so damn strong in this world. We are surrounded by bad food that is delicious. We are surrounded by so many things which are temptations. Alcohol, food. There's so many temptations for the overweight lower middle class white guy to be tempted by.
Lady boys. Yes,
Lady boys.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, Clive, on that lighter note there, what luxury wristwatch do you find treats depression best for you? What do you strap on when you're feeling a bit down?
Strap on my wrist.
Sorry, speaking.
I don't know. Something extra blingy. What are those, by the way?
They're diet food.
They look like Egg McMuffins. Well, and like I said, something especially blingy or something with a good memory attached to it.
Yes. Well, what do you like to wear?
Well, I mean, something blingy like either the President or the Bluesy or the Yachty, or sometimes I'll put on my A11, by Bulova, and just remind myself of the history, and basically say the prior owner of this watch had to jump in an airplane, fly across Europe, and deal with death. Deal with flak, deal with Messerschmitt 109s.
It's almost as bad as being stuck in a hole with the fuse exploding in your hand.
Right. Yeah, actually. And sometimes I just remind myself that, I always think of my grandpa's old favorite expressions, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Sometimes, leaning on my friends, it's possible to do things that are little to no cost. Not nearly the cost. I mean, actually, I've been having a not a very ideal weekend. And, I actually went up and I went to a Chinese massage parlor no happy ending. And this, this big old Chinese fellow basically beat the crap out of me, but it felt wonderful afterwards. Felt like having a new body, getting a new body back.
How do we stop you smoking?
Well, that is a pacifier right now. But one of the things I need to get serious about the food programming. I need to get serious. I've had like some cognitive results with the mind program, but I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research. The weight loss isn't quite what I've been hoping it was.
I see. Not as fast, you're saying?
Right. And sometimes it is simply processed crap. It's hard to give up this, the standard American diet, or SAD, because it's tasty, it's relatively inexpensive, and it's convenient.
That's why the average American is overweight.
Well, that and all the genetically modified organisms, but yeah, mostly convenience. Or sometimes it's just a matter of spooling up Netflix or pulling out the CD collection and putting in your favorite comedy. Stand-up comedy, for instance. Something from Louis C.K.
What wristwatch do you think treats depression the best way? What would you recommend?
It's the one that you have the strongest emotional attachment to. Certain watches are more, like I said, I have certain watches, it's just like, look at it, and intellectually I know it's a great watch. Intellectually I might know it, I've got a good price on it. Intellectually I might not realize, well, this thing has the potential to be a serious collector piece in the long term. But it's the one where you open it, you look at it, and that gets that ooh factor. So I say right now this week, and it's the Yachty.
I see.
Or it could be going, other solutions like going to a public park, watching a sunset, taking some time, calling my kids.
Yes. You have many good things to look forward to, Clive.
And sometimes, sometimes it's easier to wallow in your own crap than it is to actually go off and do something about it. But one of the things you mentioned was come up with a gratitude list.
Yes. You've got a lot to be thankful for.
I do, actually. I do. But, yeah, just a couple of personal items. Like I said, a couple of failed romances. Moving on. And not to mention the big 5-0 coming up in 1 month. Yes.
I understand. It's a milestone. It's very tough for us men folk. We kind of look up. You've got a kick-ass watch collection, and that's all that matters. And
I've got a couple of great kids. I would not trade my kids for anyone.
No, you've been blessed, Clive.
Yeah, and just simply cutting myself a break. Sometimes I think sometimes I don't think we process emotions. We don't allow ourselves to feel, and that's why the unresolved feelings kind of go down deep inside.
You have to say to yourself, if you go back to that depressed state you were in before, when you went to see the doctor, where you had a job you hated with a spouse you couldn't stand, right? With commitments that were very high. You look at your situation now. Look at this. You don't have a nasty, aggressive spouse. You've got a cool job. You've got a very cool job. You're working for yourself. You're living by yourself. Could you imagine what you would have given before when you were stuck with this nagging, annoying bitch to be on your own with your beautiful artwork in the corner and your bed there? And could you imagine what you would have given for that when you were in that bad phase before?
Well, I had the nagging, annoying bitch, and then I had the super mommy. So mothering with an S on the front.
Yes.
Mothering.
Yes.
But yeah, and one of the things is that you know, just take some stock. You take some stock as you reach certain mile points, and you know, actually, and I should have died. There were 3 times where it's just like 3 events that happened. Actually, in the 80s, 2 in the 80s and 1 in the 90s, I shouldn't have survived any of them.
No, you're very lucky.
Yeah, but instead it's just like, well, why did I survive? What's the point? Why? And again, it's the inner dialogue. It's just like saying, hey, you know, yeah, I should have died. I've got every day as a gift.
You have every day as a gift. That's exactly right. Clive, with that note there, we're going to wrap this up.
Now, again, what resource would someone have if they need someone to talk them through some tough times?
If they need some tough times to talk, I'm available for $50 an hour, Skype or WhatsApp. I'm available to listen to your problems and give you a compact, easy solution.
And actually, by the way, thanks for the help earlier.
Not a problem. We've all gone through it, Clive. It's all good. Let's cut this one here. And Clive, we will do